Hello, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Danae Ringelmann. I'm one of the founders of Indiegogo, and we are the largest global crowdfunding platform in the world.
Explain maybe crowdfunding in one or two sentences to other people who do not know it yet, although I think that's impossible, but maybe you still do.
Yeah. Crowdfunding is the act of basically taking your idea and bringing it to life with the help of your friends, family, customers, and all the supporters that would also be passionate about that. So on Indiegogo, we have everybody from entrepreneurs who are starting businesses like bakeries to web apps to iPhone cases to artists who are trying to raise money for their next album or their next film or photo project to causes and charities. So people raising money to pay for their dog's surgery or build a community garden or travel across the world. We've had actually a lot of campaigns in Germany. One that comes to mind is recently in Berlin, there was a team of folks who raised money to open their first glass blowing studio, which is really unique and specific, but if you're into glass blowing, this is definitely a studio that can help you. So the individuals who used Indiegogo to raise the money reached out to their community, reached out to their audience, reached out to other glass blowers, and were able to raise the money to open the studio. So that's what Indiegogo does, and we're an open and global platform. We're in almost 200 countries now, and we're distributing millions of dollars every single week to campaign owners across the world, and we're open. So what that means is anybody can create a campaign wherever you are in the world at any time for absolutely anything. If you have an idea this morning, you can create a campaign this afternoon, and you can be raising money by tonight. There's no application, there's no curation, there's no rejection process.
Okay, so we had this already, that being international is one of your USPs maybe in a way, or something where you should try to focus on. What else is making Indiegogo unique? And maybe also one sentence about the international stuff. How do you manage such massive things?
Yes, so Indiegogo is global, and what that means is wherever you are in the world, you can raise money. All you need is a bank account. We work with everybody. And that wasn't easy. We definitely invested over the last 5 years since we started in creating a global payments and disbursement system that would work. And we're going to continue to pioneer that because we know that the more seamless the experience is for funders and for campaign owners, the more success that they'll have. What also makes Indiegogo different is briefly what I mentioned about being open. That is fundamentally different than some of the other players that have popped up since we began back in 2008. And the reason it's important is because an open platform is what is fundamentally changing the way people raise money. Historically, our world has been full of gatekeepers. Individuals picking and choosing projects to fund, picking and choosing ideas that have the right or get the chance to raise money. So that's the fundamental paradigm that we wanted to throw out because it's not efficient. And it doesn't necessarily yield what the world wants. And so what we've built is a system where anybody can post, but the ones that bubble to the top are the ones that the community actually wants to see happen. And the way they're voting is not with a like button, but they're voting with their wallet, which parting with cash is the most indicative gesture you can take to say that you want something to exist. So that's why Indiegogo has created this open platform and built a data-driven system. So what makes us also different is that we're meritocratic. So just as we don't pick and choose who uses Indiegogo, we also don't pick and choose who gets on our homepage and who gets higher listings in our browse pages. The campaign owners do, and their audiences do. And the way that happens is through the Gogo factor, which is Indiegogo's proprietary algorithm that measures the activity on a campaign and the responsiveness of the community. Note, these are two factors that are completely in control of the campaign owner. Nobody else, not even Indiegogo. Some people say, if I send you cupcakes, will you put us on the homepage? And I'm always like, love cupcakes, but it's not going to help. Actually, you're in control, not me, of you appearing on the homepage. So that's really powerful. It's very much like Google, very much like YouTube. It's all meritocratic. driven. So the higher the GOGO factor, the higher you appear in our site.
Okay, that's really interesting, actually. I mean, as you said, it's almost like a Google thing. Like, how do I decide which of the stuff is on my starting page? Do you also have analytics on how successful startups develop after crowdfunding? I mean, is there some kind of, 67% of all the startups fail after getting crowdfunding, or really do have success? I mean, obviously, crowdfunding is also quite a nice way of doing PR in a way. I mean, you don't need to write an article. You just have 100,000 people that know about you already and maybe start being your customer.
Yeah. So that's why we know campaigns that have 4 or more people on their team raise on average 80% more than campaigns that just have 1 person on their team. It's why we know that campaigns that update their funders every 1 to 5 days raise on average 100% more than campaign owners that don't. So we've extracted that the 3 keys to success in crowdfunding are having a great pitch, which include the video and the perks that I talked about, being proactive, which is getting the word out, using the updates that I just talked about, as well as Facebook and social media and Twitter and all that. And the third is making sure you have an audience that cares. So sometimes people use crowdfunding as a way to check if their idea is actually wanted in the world or not. And often a campaign that's failed indicates that it's an idea that people actually don't want. And in a way, we've actually gotten thank you letters from people who failed at crowdfunding, but they're appreciative because after doing a great pitch and being proactive, they realized that it was just a cool idea. It was actually not something people were willing to pay for. And so the failed crowdfunding campaign actually saved them a lot of time and energy and savings on an idea that was never going to see the light of day anyways.
Okay, I was always asking myself whether all of the pitches there win money, at least some, but obviously this proves me wrong.
And that's the beauty of an open platform. When everyone has an equal chance of success, and when the success is based on your own hard work and how much your audience wants it to come to life, anything is possible. And that's why we don't restrict. That's why we don't curate. That's why we were born out of this deep desire to democratize fundraising and fundamentally change the way people raise money. We're changing finance as we speak, and we're doing it because we're getting rid of the gatekeeper. And the role of the gatekeeper is changing from one of decision maker to one of influencer, which I think is great. And that's why traditional VCs or governments or foundations are moving away from picking and choosing or trying to guess who's going to be successful, and they're going to move towards more into an amplification role, where crowdfunding will show which projects are bubbling to the top because the community is wanting it, and then they can come in behind that and put more capital in and blow it up.
Help me understand the process of how you do it. I mean, in Germany, we quite had a discussion about what do I get as a founder from a crowdfunding platform. Obviously money, but then from the other side, the other perspective, if I pledge on something, if I put in money in a startup or an idea or a museum, as in your case, what do these guys get? I mean, in Germany, so far as I understood, they get shares of the money that comes out afterwards, but they do not get real shares. How about you guys? I mean, how do you do this from a legal perspective?
Yeah. So in Indiegogo, we pioneered the perks framework. So when people contribute on Indiegogo, they get a perk in return. The only thing not allowed within a perk is any kind of equity or profit participation. And that's because U.S. law, up until a few months ago, stated that was illegal. So that's what's not possible. But what is exciting, and that's why we encourage people to offer perks at all different levels to satisfy all different wallet appetites. You don't want to exclude a student who maybe can only bear a few bucks, as well as you don't want to leave money on the table if there's a rich person who wants to give you more than 20 bucks. You want to offer perks at all different levels. But what's exciting is because of the traction Indiegogo's made and because of some great work people in the United States have made around pushing the government to revisit their laws and their regulations around how people raise money online. Indiegogo was involved in helping the Jobs Act just get passed, which is an act to legalize crowdfunding up to equity crowdfunding, which is the ability to offer profit participation or equity ownership in the form of a perk, which has never been allowed before in the U.S.
Let's speak about payment for a second, because you said you found a way of doing the whole payment stuff. I learned so far that at least Europe is really a nightmare when it comes down to payment. And why I ask this is, I tend to ask myself, isn't crowdfunding actually a topic where the barriers of entrance are rather low? Because actually, you know, setting up a website where people can put on profiles with videos and all this stuff is rather easy. And I mean, so far Germany also has at least 4 to 5 crowdfunding platforms. But I could imagine that payment stuff might be a difference, as well as the analytics sections you mentioned. So let's have maybe one or two sentences on this whole stuff, like, okay, barriers of entrance and payment.
Yeah, payments are complicated. If they were easy, we'd have a bajillion crowdfunding platforms doing it globally. So we spent the last 5 years building a system that would actually work. And we often say it's very easy to create a crowdfunding website. It's very difficult to create a crowdfunding platform. And that's why we've been working so hard over the last 5 years, is to create a platform. And what goes into that is a global payment system where you fund from anywhere in the world and you can get your money from anywhere in the world, which is not super simple. We've worked with our partners like PayPal, and we've had credit card companies, and we have different banks that make it all work. And we're going to continue to innovate on that to make it as even more of a seamless process for our customers.
How about the big news? I mean, payment is already in the right direction, right?
Yes. So what's exciting is that despite us being in the US dollar only, and despite us being in English only, Indiegogo's customer base has been truly global since day one, and today about 30% of our business and customers are abroad, are not US. They're international, they're Europe, they're Canada, they're Australia, they're the rest of the world. And what we're excited to announce today is a broadening of our international capabilities that will make the experience for our biggest international markets that much more relevant and unique. So what we're announcing are 3 things. One is currencies. So as of today, Indiegogo is live in 4 currencies across the world. The British pound, the euro, the Canadian dollar, as well as the US dollar. So if you have a campaign in Germany today and you want to start raising money in euros, go for it. You can. The second thing we're announcing is that by the end of December, Indiegogo will also be launched in new languages. And specifically, we're launching in German and French. So when you go to Indiegogo in Germany and you go to our site, it'll automatically be in German, assuming your browser settings are set to German. It's really cool. Also, our customer happiness will be all available in German and French as well. The third thing that we're announcing is going to be launching in early 2013, and that's a more localized experience for our German, our French, our British, and our Canadian customers. So the search and browse experience will be more localized. It'll still be Gogo factor driven, but if you're in Germany and you're just looking around, it'll be easier to find more German campaigns, for example. Also, our campaign owners will be able to write their pitches and their campaign pages in one or many languages, including German and French as well. So the reason that's exciting is we've seen a lot of German campaigns that we've had where they'll write their campaign in English and then they'll write it again in German, all in one section, because they know that their audiences have different preferences with languages. So now what they can do is when they're creating their campaign, they'll be able to write their pitch in English, write their pitch in German, if they want, write their pitch in French as well. And when they send out their link to their campaign, or when their link flies around the internet and people share it, no matter where people are in the world, when they come to the site, if they come to the campaign page in Germany, they'll be seeing a German version of Indiegogo, and the version of the pitch that populates from the campaign will be the German version. Same thing if another person goes to that same exact campaign in France, they'll see the French version of the campaign. So it's all very seamless. It's much more frictionless and customized, and it's just the beginning of a lot of cool international stuff that we'll be doing more of. And I'm particularly excited about it because we have been global since day one, and our mission is to empower people. So it's our job to remove as much friction from the process as possible and really give our customers across the world the right experience for them.
Interesting. Watch out, all you German crowdfunding guys out there. Maybe as the last thing, let's say 1 year, 2 year, 5 years in the future, what do you think crowdfunding will look like?
Crowdfunding is quickly becoming a permanent piece of the whole financial ecosystem. And it's not just permanent, but it's a slice that's actually strengthening the rest of the ecosystem as well, because what crowdfunding is proving to be is an incredible incubation platform. So what I see happening is crowdfunding becoming a permanent part of the fundraising ecosystem that all or a lot of projects and businesses use to get businesses off the ground, to expand, to go global, to do all kinds of cool things. I mean, think about it. Like, we had this whole framework where someone has an idea, they have to go convince somebody random that it's a good idea for them to give you money so you can go make that idea and then go serve the customers who probably gave you the idea to begin with to go do. So rather than, have this idea and go off to this third party, if you can go right to the people who you're serving to validate you and get you going, it's far more efficient and it's far more empowering. Because now the audience and your customers are making decisions about what comes to life.
What lovely closing words. Thanks a lot and good luck, especially in Germany, I would say.
Thank you. Danke.